Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Asim. I'm working as DevOps engineer. Guys, in this video, we are going to set up the AWS managed EKS cluster, and we are going to do that from the Terraform. Other thing we are going to do that is the setup of EKS service accounts. Why we need those, I'm going to show you because of the security reason. And we are going to set up two types of EKS accounts. From the two types, I mean, from the security perspective, I'm going to show you uh, the two types with the security perspective. So for that, I've created a repo for you guys. In this, first of all, we are going to set up the EKS cluster from the Terraform managed module. And what we need to do, simply navigate to this section for the creation of service account. For the setup of the EKS cluster, we're going to set up from this directory, right? So a little bit of overview. In past, I've already made a lot of videos regarding the setup of EKS cluster through the managed module, right? So what we are going to do, the architecture is something like that. We are going to set up the backend, and we are going to set up a VPC for our EKS cluster, right? And in that particular cluster, we are going to set up the EKS cluster. I mean, in that particular VPC, we're going to set up our EKS cluster with the version 1.23, right? And this is the stuff I've already covered a lot of stuff in my previous videos. And then what we are going to do, we are going to set up the EKS managed modules. For that, I've set up the directory. Let me navigate to that. So here are this is the directory, which is what we are going to do for the setup. So I've also added readme md for that. Some of the stuff with regard to the security perspective is that there are two types of EKS accounts. From the security perspective, one account, one module is what we are going to apply in this demo, which is regard to the EKS role hardening with the OIDC specific namespace, which means that if I spin up my application in a specific namespace with a specific role, only that particular namespace is allowed to get the services which we have defined in this role. For instance, here I defined AWS S3 full access. So if this name, if our pod is deployed in particular namespace, for instance, in the Cloud Geeks namespace, and if that particular uh, pod has the service account with this name, only that particular pod has access to uh, this policy which we have defined here. So this is one thing which we are going to set up, and the other thing is the a seam role. A seam role here, I mean, just like when you attach a role to a EC2 instance, for understanding, I'm saying it's pretty much like that, which means that if your pod is deployed in any namespace, right, and it if it has that particular I'm role ARN attached, which has the specific policy S3 full access. So you see, the difference is that that particular pod is then able to access the specific resources no matter what which namespace it is deployed, but it should have the ARN which we are going to set up. So these are the two types I'm going to demonstrate, and then we are going to do the testing. For the testing, I have the application. For instance, we are going to create a namespace Cloud Geeks with this name, and we are going to create a service account. First of all, we are going to test our application with the ARN of this, I mean, whatever we are going to use in our account. We are going to update the ARN, right? For instance, with the low hardened security, right? So just like as I discussed with the EC2 assume role. And the third is the deployment. So here we are defining the service account name, right? And our application is going to copy that particular file in this particular area, right? So that's the demo. So what we are going to do now, we are going to first of all needs to spin up the EKS cluster. So what you need to do, simply navigate back to this section files, and this is the public repository. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clone this, right? And I do have SSH access, but definitely you guys need to select this. So I'm going to copy this guy. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to spin up my container with the sandbox. What it does, it will create a directory on my desktop, so which is going to be mounted in that particular container. So let me start my sandbox. So you see this directory is created, and if I do docker ps, one container is running, I'm going to exec into this particular sandbox, right? So let me do that. And so pwd, this is my present working directory, and I'm going to simply clone this particular repository, right? So now what I'm going to do, simply I'm going to navigate to Terraform AWS EKS and navigate to the Terraform section, right? So first of all, I'm going to source this EKS env. So what it has, so let me show you that it has the following cluster name and variable section and other paths, right? So also I'm going to do chmod to key.shell. So what it does, it will first of all create a key inside our AWS account, which is going to be then used by the worker nodes. So then what we need to do, so to navigate to the section where I've defined my Terraform code, simply navigate to this section, and as we are using the manage module, right? So we need to make sure that this bucket is created. So you can create this bucket from the CLI or manually. So let me just refresh this page, and we're going to navigate to the AWS console. So guys, I've successfully logged in to my AWS console. If you navigate to this section, let me refresh it. So you will see we don't have any EKS cluster. We are going to set up through the EKS manage module. So let's do that. And if I do Terraform init, we are going to initialize, but definitely we don't have bucket, so it is going to throw an error. So what you need to do, the whole point, I just want to make sure for the initialization, you have to make sure that this bucket should be existing. Whatever you name, you need to update here. So let me show you this part. So once it's going to download the all modules, it's going to look for the backend, and you see it gives an error, right? So for that, what you need to do, simply navigate to this section and create a bucket for the backend where we are going to store our state file, right? And that is why we are creating this bucket. So that's fine. And okay, okay, we are going to enable the versioning. So anyway, let's create it bucket if this bucket is available, and it is going to create this particular bucket for us. And So let's try to do init again. So currently what it is doing, it is downloading all the packages into your current directory. Actually, I've mounted this one, so I just want to show you from here. It's going to create a hidden directory with the dot name. So if I navigate to this section and if I navigate to the Terraform EKS, Terraform environment dev, you see this is the directory where it loads all the modules you see and the providers. So this is going to show you. So backend has been initialized. So what we are going to do, we are going to apply the stuff. So let it deploy. It will show us what it is going to deploy, and we are going to apply that particular stuff, right? And let me do that. So, okay, and it is going to create the cluster for us. And some of the stuff regarding the deployment, uh, we are going we have set up our backend, and then it is going to create a VPC with these side ranges, right? And we are going to have one NAT gateway, right? So with one public private subnets, along with that, we are going to create EKS cluster. This is the version, right? And these are some of the settings that we are going to deploy that particular cluster in that VPC ID. We are going to use the private subnets, which means that our worker nodes are going to be deployed in the private subnets, right? And we are not going to write any kubeconfig. We're going to simply use import the cluster using the AWS EKS kubeconfig command, right? And these are some of the useful links you can simply use these links to have more reading about these modules which we are using here. So node group, the name of the node group is going to be this, and T3 medium we are going to use only one node. And what it does, it creates auto scaling group at the backend um, with these settings. Desired max minimum capacity is 1 and 30 uh, gigs GB3 is going to be our required volume, right? So for the EBS, and this is going to be encrypted disk. I mean, this volume is going to be encrypted. And let's navigate back to the section where we are looking to deploy the EKS cluster. Once it is start deploying, I'm going to pause the video because it will take some time to create that. So, so this is the demo, guys, and these are some of the links I've already added with regard to these modules which we are going to set up. So this is I already covered. So let it deploy, right? And once everything is done, I will be back. So till then, let me just show you the stuff little bit that what it is started doing at the back end. It is going to if you navigate to simply type VPC here and navigate to the VPC section. All these are managed modules. We are using it. So you see at the backend, it is going to spin up a VPC with this side range, and once the VPC is available, it is going to create the cluster for us. And you see it is started, and it will take some time. So guys, I will be back with you guys in a moment, and then we are going to use a managed module for EKS service account. So wait, please. Thank you. So guys, while cluster is setting up for us, what we are going to do, we are going to navigate to this directory, right, and open this in another tab. We are going to set up some of the stuff with regard to the testing of our application and service account, right? So here I have written the README MD. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create one bucket, right? So why we are creating this bucket, and let me show you this part. So in the deployment section, what we are going to do, we are going to deploy Nginx Alpine, and in this particular bucket, we are going to copy our README MD, and README MD is already available, which is this file, right? So what we are going to do, I've already added commands to create bucket instead of UI. So in previous state file, I've set up the bucket from the UI. Now I'm going to show you the command. So while this is happening, what I'm going to do is take up one more shell into this same container. So if I do docker ps exec into this container, right, and this is the sandbox. So take a shell into this, and I'm going to paste this particular command here. So currently we don't have this bucket available, so we have added this particular command. And if I navigate to the section where we have our S3 buckets, so click this guy and try to refresh it. So you see now we have two buckets. This bucket has the name Cloud Geeks Prod, and what we are going to do, you see this bucket is currently empty, and we are going to use the second command. So this is where we are just looking to enable the versioning for a in case if we have any issue with regard to the files deleted, or we don't take any backups. So we should have other version of our objects are available, right? So now what we are going to do, we are going to simply copy this particular file. So of course, currently our PWD is this. In this, we don't have any README MD. So what we are going to do, we should be able to enter into that particular directory. So EKS service account. So if I do ls, navigate to the create section, you see now we have README MD. So let's try to use this command. So what it does, it is actually uploaded this readme file to this bucket. So just simply refresh it, you will see that this file is going to be available, right? So if you navigate to this section, it is going to copy this particular file, right? So this is the container, this is the init container. It is using the AWS CLI image, right? So this is very important for the testing perspective. So then once everything is set up, you see in the next tab, it is in progress, the EKS cluster, it is in progress state. And if I navigate to the section, okay, IAM section, now I need to navigate to the IAM section. You will see the two rows are going to be available. So what we need to do, simply type IAM, right? Okay. So navigate to the roles section and simply type, let's say, type prod, and currently those are not available. Okay, let me check the names of those roles as well. So here I defined, so those are going to be created soon, right? So as we have defined our this and define these in our main TF file, right? So and the other no, role name is going to be Cloud Geeks Dev. So prod and dev should actually will be visible here through the filtration. So those are not created because it is in progress state. So this is the stuff I'm doing here to give you a complete demonstration for the testing. It is not just the creation of IAM service account. We are going to actually test our service accounts as well. So before creating it, I mean, in actual dev or production environment, you can simply do the testing. So here we are setting up our EKS cluster, VPC, and then we are going to set up our service accounts all through managed modules of the Terraform. So let's wait for a while. So guys, our setup is completed, which means the deployment of EKS cluster and everything is ready. So what we are going to do, simply refresh it and now type prod, which means that our roles are available, and even if you type dev, it should be available, right? So there you go. So first of all, if I do the testing with regard to the dev, I mean with the prod account, you see it has the full access, but the main point from the security perspective I need to share is the trust relationship. You see, so this is where we are going to use the security hardening. You see, the system and service account. So this is the namespace, right? And this is the name of the service account. So similarly, this is the namespace, and this is the name of the service account. Guys, these one thing I need to tell you, none of this namespace or I mean other namespace is not even created, or nor these service accounts created. These service accounts we are going to create through the YAML files. Either you can use the Helm or YAML, but these are just actually you are allowing those namespaces and service account which you are going to create in the next stage through the YAML file or Helm, right? So this is the hardened IAM role. And the other thing I need to show you, just like with the EC2 role, where we are not doing hardening regarding the namespace, right? So let me show you that part. So simply type dev, and if you see this, the difference in the trust relationship, it has the full access, and I've added this addition stuff, but these are the policies you can attach different permissions, right? But the whole difference here is that we are actually allowing the OIDC here only. In that particular previous case, we are actually allowing the OIDC along with the specific namespaces and service account. So now what we are going to do, let's navigate back to the section. First of all, we are going to test our application, right? So let's do the testing with the dev. So first of all, click this guy. This has the ARN, right? So, and if I navigate to the EKS section, service account. So what we are going to do, we are going to update this particular guy. So if I navigate to this section, we have this directory which we have cloned, right? And I'm going to navigate to this, and we have create section. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to update this service account YAML file. So here I need to provide the ARN, right? So by numbering, I gave the number 1, 2. So it will follow the sequence. First, it's going to create the namespace Cloud Geeks, and here we are going to, okay, let me just undo the stuff. So yes, I have the spacing issue as well. So just want to make sure that it should have no spacing. So just refresh it. So let's try to do shift insert here. Okay, let's start with the tab. Okay, now I'm going to do tab. So because identification might cause some errors, but this is the role which we are going to use, right? And now I'm going to show you all the files which I've already shown you. So this is the namespace that we are going to create, and let me show you the third file. Third file is actually the name of the service account. Here I'm using this service account name, right? So it is going to deploy the Nginx Alpine container, but the init container is going to use the AWS CLI container, and is going to copy the file from our bucket, because we have given the full access of AWS S3, right? So um, okay, everything seems to be fine. So let's try to first of all import our cluster. So this is the AWS CLI command, AWS EKS update config, right? So let's do that. And you should provide the name of the cluster, which is Cloud Geeks EKS dev, and the region is going to be US East one. So let's try to check kubectl get nodes. We have this one node cluster for this demo, and this is the version of this particular node. And let's try to okay, I can apply it, but I just wanna import our cluster, right? So let's try to open this in Lens, and I've already covered the. I mean, I've projected the credential outside my cluster. So in order to import this cluster to this guy, so let's try to click that, and this is the old cluster. So let me just remove the stuff from here. Okay, just remove the old stuff. Let me do that, and it's clear now. So what I'm going to do, let me open the git bash, and I'm going to use the same command which I've used regarding the cluster update in the kube config. So it's going to update the context. So it will give me an error. So let me update this. So let's try to use this command, and context is update. So kubectl will get nodes. Nodes. We should be able to see nodes. We should be able to see nodes outside our, I mean, container. So right. So by default, it is going to pick up the cluster from your home dot config. So this is the default. What you need to do is to simply click this guy, and then I'm going to apply stuff. So what you need to do, navigate to the pod section. So we have these namespaces available, and I'm going to simply now do the kubectl apply to all files, right? So let's do that. So it will sequentially created the stuff you see. It has created the namespace, then it has created the service account, and it has deployed the Nginx um, container. So this is the namespace now available. So you will see shortly that the container is spin up. So what we are going to do, we are going to check the logs of this file. So um, these are the logs of the file, but we want to see the specific logs because these are the logs of the Nginx Alpine container. We need to check the logs of the AWS CLI. So navigate to this section, navigate to the AWS CLI. You see it has the same AWS README MD. It has copied that particular file. So this is the exactly same file which we have actually used in our deployment. So let me show you that part as well. So this is the same README MD we are actually getting in our logs, right? So guys, this is the first part regarding the testing. Currently, what role we are using, this is the role and ARN. So this has the trust relationship with low security hardening, and it is just like assume role of EC2 instance. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to test the other role, and the other role is going to be fail. Why it is going to fail? Let me show you that. Now what I'm going to do, um, I'm going to update the ARN of that particular file. So let me show you that. So for that, simply I need to update the ARN. So previously we have used the dev ARN with the low security in a way that it is going to use the same assume role like an EC2 instance. It is not actually very low, but we are going to even harden the security by to a specific namespace. So for that, what we have a role named prod. So simply we are going to use this particular node, and as I already shown you the stuff regarding the trust relationship. So one thing, the mistake here is that I intentionally added that. So it has the right namespace, but you see this has the wrong service account name, right? So our service account name is this service account name. So it should not work. So this namespace does not exist, but this has exists. So let's try to apply this particular guy, and let's see. So yeah, that seems to be okay, but just for indentation, I just want to make sure that I should have the right indentation and do the kubectl apply -f. So it is going to configure one service account, right? So it is actually running to make it fail because it is a deployment. Either you can simply delete this guy, or you need to restart. What restart is going to do is simply going to actually delete that particular pod. So let's do that. So if you navigate to this section, you see, um, I mean, if this pod is not going to be available, so your previous deployment is going to be still in running state. So what went wrong with that? So let's see the logs. So we're gonna see the logs of this guy. So you see an error occurred, access denied. You see why we have access denied? I've already told you that this has the issue. Let's try to fix the issue. We can use the Terraform, or as the length of this video is getting big. So what we are going to do, just quickly update the issue. I mean, quickly fix the issue. So I'm going to update this service account name is service account name. So I'm going to update this. One thing I need to show you. So let me tell you that the account of the service account name is service account name. So this is the service account name, and let me tell you, this is the name of the service account name. So this is the issue. We are actually fixing it as we have. I need to show you for the demonstration purposes. So you see, this is the right namespace. I need to update this guy, right? And I need to fix this. So I just want to make sure that everything is okay. Okay, that is fine. So I'm going to update the policy, and let's see what we have now. We have the Cloud Geeks, right? Namespace, and the service account name is the service account name. So now what I'm going to do, navigate back to this and simply restart it. So let's try to restart. Once everything is okay, it's going to remove the previous container. You see, it's terminating, and you see now it has the access, and you can check the logs of the AWS CLI. It should have our file back readme.md again with the security hardened rule. So guys, this is it. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe the channel. Have a nice day.